Your mitochondria are dying. Not slowly, not gracefully. After age 40, these microscopic power plants that fuel every thought, every heartbeat, every moment of clarity begin collapsing. Their membranes crack. Their output drops by 50% between 40 and 70. They leak toxic byproducts directly into your cells. Scientists call this mitochondrial dysfunction. You call it getting old. But this process starts decades before you feel it. The 3 p.m. energy crash. The brain fog that was not there at 35. The weight that refuses to move. Your body is not betraying you. It is running out of power. And the clock moves faster than you think. There exists an ancient practice that targets this decay directly. Not with supplements, not with compensation, but by triggering your body's own mechanism for building new mitochondria from scratch. Tibetan monks used it to raise core body temperature in sub-zero conditions. These Taoist texts from the Han Dynasty called it the method for cultivating internal fire. Vedic Upanishads described it as a biological key for accessing prana vayu, the life force beneath ordinary breath. These were not metaphors. They were instructions. Monks who practiced this lived decades beyond their contemporaries. 80-year-old masters performed physical feats that would challenge most men at 40. The practice was considered so potent, it was transmitted only to advanced students. Nash, never written plainly, always encoded. Modern science finally understands why. In 2012, a study in Cell identified PGC1-alpha, a master regulator protein that triggers mitochondrial biogenesis. When activated, it literally grows new cellular batteries inside existing cells. The two most powerful known activators are controlled hypoxia and cold exposure. Both create hormesis, controlled stress that forces adaptation and rebuilding. Tummo breathing, the core technique of this ancient tradition, does both simultaneously. When you perform specific breath hold sequences, blood oxygen drops into a range that signals adapt or fail. PGC1-alpha floods your system. Cold exposure compounds this through separate pathways, activating cold shock proteins and driving mitochondrial density in muscle cells. A 2019 Netherlands study found Wim Hof method practitioners, directly derived from Tummo, showed measurable reductions in inflammatory markers and enhanced autonomic control that science previously believed impossible. Harvard-affiliated research found breathwork and cold exposure associated with longer telomere length in middle-aged subjects. Telomeres are your DNA protective caps. When they shorten, you age. When they hold, you do not. Here is the technique. Practice with an empty stomach, never in water, ideally morning before food. This is a 3-phase protocol rooted in classical Tummo, adapted for daily use. Phase 1 is preparation. Sit upright, spine straight, hands on knees. Take 30 deep, full breaths. Inhale through the nose, filling belly first, then chest. Exhale through the mouth, releasing completely. Do not pause between breaths. Build rhythm and momentum. Tingling in hands and face is normal. This is the oxygen shift beginning. Phase 2 is the hold. After your 30th breath, exhale completely. And push every last bit of air out and stop. Hold your breath. Do not inhale. Sit in the stillness. Your body will resist. Stay calm. You have more capacity than you think. Hold for as long as possible, ideally 60 to 90 seconds, for beginners. This is where PGC1-alpha activation begins. This is where mitochondrial signaling fires. When you finally must breathe, take one deep, full inhale through the nose. Hold that inhale for 15 seconds, thus pressing the breath gently into your chest and skull. Then, release. That completes one round. Phase 3 is repetition and cold. Perform 3 to 4 rounds of this sequence. After the final round, move immediately to cold exposure. 30 to 90 seconds of cold water on face, neck, and upper body minimum. This cold shock activates a second wave of mitochondrial response, compounding the biogenesis signal from the breathwork. Together, they multiply rather than add. Gang, do this 4 to 5 days per week. Morning is optimal. Consistency over intensity. The body adapts in layers, and deepest adaptations come after weeks 2 and 3. Here is what happens when you commit. First week, afternoon energy shifts. The 3 p.m. collapse softens. Morning mental clarity sharpens. By week 3, sleep quality changes. Recovery accelerates. A baseline energy appears, steady and clean. Not the artificial spike of stimulants, but the real thing you remember from your 30s. By week 8, changes become structural. Mitochondria proliferate. Cells repair damage faster than accumulation. Inflammatory baseline, the slow fire driving aging at every level, begins to cool. This is what ancient masters called rejuvenation, not metaphor, not optimism. Literal biological reversal of decay patterns most men over 40 consider inevitable. You are not fated to decline. You are fated to adapt. That is what biology does when given the right signal. The monks did not have blood panels or PGC1 alpha assays, but they had something we are only beginning to recover. The understanding that the body is not a passive machine wearing down. It is a dynamic system waiting for instruction. You now have that instruction. If this resonated, 3 actions matter. First, like this video to signal that ancient physiological knowledge deserves modern attention. Second, comment energy below if you are starting this protocol today. I read every comment and feature the most significant transformations. Third, subscribe with notifications because this channel exists to return knowledge that was always yours. The most powerful thing you can do for your biology is begin, not tomorrow, not after more research. Today,